Hello, viewer. Today I'm going to cover a very important topic, which are some of the key challenges when you undertake an ISO project and what are the best possible solutions or resolution to those key challenges that you need to keep in mind so that you can streamline your implementation process, or even if you have implemented and certified, then what are the challenges post certifications which you should keep in mind and keep your focus on those in order to ensure continual improvement. I'm going to cover that in a few minutes. Let me introduce myself and then we will get started. And in case you have seen my previous videos in which I have already introduced myself, you can skip the next 30 seconds to get right to the topic. This is Sayed Arshad Hashmi from Core System Consultant. By profession, I'm an engineer with extensive experience as consultant, trainer, and auditor for many ISO standards, including information security, business continuity, energy, quality, environment, health, and safety management standards. I've done more than 3,000 mandates of trainings and audits, and I've worked on more than 150 consulting projects with major industrial sectors across the globe. So that was a brief about myself, and now let's get started. There are five key challenges that you need to keep in mind while undertaking a project which you are going to face during the implementation of any ISO standard. The first one is, of course, the resistance to change. So be ready for it. People are working or have been working into their industries for so long, and then you are coming up and telling them to work in a specific way. It's a very natural phenomena that people will start resisting or reacting to it. So the possible resolution to start with is number one thing is to get the knowledge. Acquire the knowledge, what ISO standard is all about, how it can help your industry, what are the different phenomena and the continual improvement cycles, and then you need to also train the workforce. So this is very, very important that whoever is taking this task of implementing the ISO, any specific management standard, acquire the knowledge, get the training. There are a number of great training available and training institutions available who can provide 1 to 5 days training sessions. You can take those trainings online as well. And that will help you big time in getting the required knowledge and understanding what ISO standard is all about. And then you can train your workforce accordingly. So, involvement of the people in the process so that they can own the whole process. It's not something like you're imposing on them. Rather, they should feel the ownership of that process and they should understand the dynamics of any ISO management system. What are the continual improvement cycles, which can best be acquired when you train the workforce. The second one is lack of leadership commitment. Yeah, this is one of the another daunting task that you need to keep in mind, that active engagement and support from top management is required. And at times you may not find it. So, the first and foremost, my suggestion based on my experience is that top management must be on board. They should ideally be owning that initiative. That is the best way to keep them on board. Another way, of course, you can take them on board by providing them the required awareness and knowledge once you acquire that for the specific management system standard. And then, of course, keep them involved throughout the process. So it's not like you've been assigned the task, you're going all about it, and they're coming to know towards the end of it or whatever. So have a meeting or a reporting mechanism in which you keep them updated and keep them on board throughout the process. That's the best way to get their commitment and to make them understand what are the hurdles and bottlenecks you may be facing during the implementation. The third challenge would be in terms of the project management itself. So ISO will be a not a straightforward process, the implementation. So you need to really plan it well, the milestones, the deliverables, what is to be done, what are the activities. And as I said earlier, when you acquire that training, you'll get the knowledge. if you go for the implementation training, the awareness and understanding sessions, and there are a number of training organizations, great training organizations available. So you acquire that knowledge that how an implementation project on ISO any management system take place, and you can acquire and you can plan it out very well. The first thing is, of course, try to have focal person from each department. So it's best to involve the people and take them on board. Nevertheless, in some organization, maybe a small organization, that may not be the possibility. Then whoever has been assigned the responsibility for implementation and for development of the different elements and the different systems and processes, there should be defined and clear responsibilities, deliverables with timelines. You can use a tool or an Excel sheet based thing, but that is the most important thing, that you should and the stakeholders should have the clarity how this process will go and who will do what. And of course, periodic review meetings, you can combine these meetings with the management review meetings, or even if management may not be available all the time, but you can have these periodic review meetings with all the stakeholders every 15 days or every 30 days, or whichever, whatever is the feasibility as per the your industry or as per your scenario. You can take people on board and keep on monitoring the progress that way. The fourth one is the documentation. Everyone here, a lot of documentation involved in ISO. What I would suggest is that starting from the start, you need to resolve the myth of documentation. It is not completely true that ISO requires a lot of documentation. There is a baseline documents that is required in every ISO management system standard, and that is again your job to understand through training that which documents are really needed for this particular standard, and then which documents the company has which they may like to include within that particular management system. So that quantum of documentation is your responsibility. And once you acquire a good training, you will have the idea that which documents are required. So do not overdo the documentation thing. You need ISO standard provide a lot of flexibility for the documentation, and you need to understand those dynamics before jumping and starting with the documentation thing. The second thing is that even though not required by the standard, but what you can do is that you can have a document management system like SharePoint or any of the other good document systems where you can manage all the documents. And the last point is based on my experience is that keep the document control centralized. This is very, very important. So there should be one person, can be a document controller, can be the person who's implementing. So whoever in your organization has been assigned the task or for the control of the document, the all the documents must be issued by that person, and all the documents must be revised by that person. So this is one of the key important aspects of controlling the documents while you are doing the project on ISO, any of the ISO management system standards. The last one is post certification. So once you have acquired the certification, how you can make sure that it has been complied, people are following it, and of course, and are we getting the intent of the standard, which is the continual improvement? Are we getting the continual improvement out of the whole standard or not? So for that, again, I would direct it back to the knowledge and the training. And what you need to understand is that which clauses of the standard are related to the continual improvement. And broadly, I can tell you, like in a 10 clause structure, the ninth and the 10th clause broadly are related to the continual improvement thing. Nevertheless, there are certain other clauses in certain other standards, like, for example, 8.7 in ISO 9001, which talks about, which is related to continual improvement, which talks about control of non conforming outputs. And there are other clauses, like six clauses, in which you do the risk assessment, and 6.2 in which you set the objectives for that particular management system. So those are all the clauses. You need to have the understanding that which are the clauses which are like dynamic clauses. They're not static clauses, they're like dynamic clauses, and they adds on to the whole continual improvement cycle. So you need to understand, have that understanding, and based on that, you need to establish the KPIs and analyze the data and the trends so that you can ensure continual improvement. uh, then you also need to make sure that there is a two-way communication. So people, you should involve the people because they know they're using those systems. They have the feedback, they have the suggestions. So the more you delegate the ownership to the people, the more you can expect betterment in the processes in the systems, because they're the best people who are working on the ground with those policies and procedures, and they can provide you the best feedback. So it's a two-way communication to improve. Lastly, I can tell you that there are two elements or two systems provided by ISO, that is the internal audit and management review. These are really great processes and clauses, and if you religiously follow these two clauses and make sure that whatever the periodicity you have set, you are doing one internal audit followed by a management review, the whole system stays intact. So these are some of the key challenges and key areas that you can focus upon when you are taking a project on any of the ISO management system standard. I hope the information provided is of benefit to you and you will gain something out of it. And if you like me to cover any other topic on any of the other aspects of the ISO management system standards, you can put that in the comment. Otherwise, you can visit my company website as well for other great resources. So, thank you very much for listening till I upload the next video. Thank you.